Yes, welcome to the No State Project live from the fortified compound here in Mesa, Arizona. Glad to be with everybody here as everyone starts to file into the big broadcast there. I think I gotta see. I really see if I like the color there. Now that's the way it should be. I guess. What if I? Yeah, see, still. What do you do? What do you do? Well, it is on a shoestring budget. I do appreciate the some of the continued support that I get here at the show. I'm not gonna, Chris and Dan and Bill. And Eyal, I do appreciate Don. I appreciate the support, you guys. I really appreciate that. The website's still up, markstevens.net, and should be up for the foreseeable future. And I will be doing the show. I forgot to put the caller number in there. It is. It's in the show note. You got to hit enter for it to go. So if anybody could just copy and paste that as we go so that people have that. But it is 717-275-8941. That's 717-275-8941. The passcode is 1233428, and you can instant message me on Skype at Frank Rizzo 3. Frank Rizzo with the number 3 there. And we'll get you up. Want to talk about a lot of stuff. But some of, I get that people, love the impeached President Trump. I get it. And most of the people, it's because their disdain for Democrats is to such a degree, you kind of overlook just what a vile piece of garbage the impeached president is, because it's okay to be vile, because it's not nearly as bad as being just your average liberal. So I get those people. I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand the reasoning. It's like I dislike liberals to such a pathological degree that anyone who's not a liberal, regardless of what their background is, if they do anything to own the libs, then they're your guy. This whole cult of personality that seems to surround the impeached president, that everything negative, literally every single thing negative, is fake news. It's all fake. He's the only one telling the truth. But then you've got the true believers who really believe that. It's not because they dislike the libs and that he owns the libs. It's because they actually believe, this is what blows my mind, they actually believe, there's actually people out there, and some have listened to the show, that actually believe that impeached President Donald Trump has never told a lie. And when I mentioned on the last show that he did in fact lie, which is really easy to prove, who was it? Someone named Jesse logged in to YouTube and challenged me on my assertion that Donald Trump, the impeached president, actually lies. Well, first of all politicians are proven liars. All of them. But this guy takes it to such a level that the only time he tells the truth is when he says something like, I don't stand by anything. I believe him. Mark, did your email change? No, it is still markstevens@mail.com. Have the... I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Anyway, so I think he stated that he was no longer a sub to the channel because I had the audacity to say a politician lied, and that's the thing. It's one thing to be loyal to your family, but who's loyal to family that's wrong? Who's loyal to family that's a criminal? You have to have the loyalty, yes, to your family and your loved ones and those that are close to you, but not when they are unethical and immoral. You don't, you know, and yeah. Oh, that's what it was about the bar. Okay, I'll get to the bar in just a moment. I just wanted to take a moment, because I could spend the next 100 shows and barely scratch the surface on the number of lies that the impeached president has told. It is I mean, yes, Barack Obama lied, but it wasn't a fire hose of lies. It wasn't almost every single time, and every single statement that he makes is demonstrably false or misleading. So one of the lies was that he had the biggest electoral victory in modern history, which is just not true. I think I think Ronald Reagan had a larger one. It's just that he had the largest. And what 70-year-old man gets on and has to brag about the size of the audience? And this isn't. He was wrong and lied that he had the largest inaugural audience in history. Not true. Not that it's actually important at all. He is on video saying he knew nothing about the payments, the hush pay, hush money being paid to Stormy Daniels. Yet there's a check with his name on it, proving that he lied. I mean, every single thing that comes out of this man's life, he lied about divesting from his businesses. He never did. My gosh. He said the coronavirus was a hoax. He came flat out and said it was a Democrat hoax to hurt his chance at re-election. A month or so later, he declares an emergency, saying, "I always knew it was a pandemic. I always knew. I knew it was a pandemic before anybody. I've been saying it." So he lied there that he always knew it was a pandemic. How do you square those? He says it's a hoax, and then he says, "I always knew it was a pandemic." So if we take him at his word that he always knew it was a pandemic, why was he saying it was a hoax? That's a demonstrable lie. That's not true. Yeah, he said he defunded the WHO. No, only Congress can do that. Yes, Avenatti. I don't think Avenatti went to jail because of helping Stormy Daniels. He was doing some other things. He was defrauding Nike. I think he was. So it wasn't for the work that he did for Stormy Daniels. So not everything and I don't think he's been convicted yet. Let's say there's so many. I mean, this guy lied about the weather. The weather. He took a friggin' pen and committed a federal offense by changing and adding a mark to make it look like when he said it was going to hit Alabama that it didn't. And yet people somebody will be so enthralled with this guy that they'll go through the trouble of unsubbing from my channel because I said he lied. Well, he does. He lies all the time. He lies constantly. This is a guy that isn't even man enough to fire somebody in person. He does it over Twitter. I mean, it is absolutely mind-boggling to me how anybody can support him and not see that everything he does, everything he says is false. He actually came out with a conspiracy theory that he tweeted that the 75-year-old man that was knocked down by Buffalo police, and it's on video. He's saying it's all fake. He was a Antifa provocateur, and he was attacking the police. It doesn't matter that it's on video. It's on video. The man's head, he was bleeding. You can see the blood pooling around his head. It's just... Does Mark know for a fact that they have isolated COVID-19? Yes, you can go online. You can see the report or the study that they've been able to isolate it, and they've been able to see it replicate. They can map the genome. I mean, science, it's peer reviewed. Scientists from all over the world would be able to say this is not true. I've got someone who says this is supposed to be COVID. It doesn't. That's not what it looks like under the microscope. You can see it under a microscope. So how many people are, what was another lie? It's just the flu. It's just the flu. And in April, when it gets warmer, it'll go away. It'll just go away. In April, the COVID it'll just go away. We have only one case, and soon it'll be zero. So let's see how many. What do we got for the number of COVID deaths? Let's take a look at that. Oh, that's right. Let's get the string of people who are going to start saying that that's all fake. All fake. Trump is right, and everyone else, all those people, all of them, they're all lying. They're all lying. 2 million, over 2 million cases, over 144,000 deaths. But it's all false. It's all false. Now, I get that news agencies have lied. I was alive during the run-up to the Iraq War. And most news organizations were beating the war drums. Not all of them. And you had foreign press that certainly was not in lockstep with the war. So there were many parts of the media, mainstream media, that was not in lockstep with the Bush administration. Here, you're talking a complete agreement that, yes, there are problems with some of the numbers, and that some may be underreported, some may be overreporting. But the general trends, they're all the same. And you had this opening up. People can't even put a mask on because my rights. And now, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later from all that, especially now that we've got the riots and protesting, they're starting to skyrocket. I know that hospitals here, my wife works at one, they're at 80+% capacity right now. And every day, more and more people are being brought in. And they're almost to the capacity now, or they may be exceeding it this weekend for ventilators. But it's all fake. All those people are faking. Even if it is just the flu, it's much, much worse. You're talking about how many times has the flu almost completely overwhelmed hospitals in the last 5 years? The Democrat hoax was the over predictions. No, he said it was a Democrat hoax to hurt his election. It's just the flu. That's why you have this array. It's like an onion. You got these layers of conspiracy theories or theories. Let me see if we got any callers yet. It's not just one conspiracy theory. You've got some people, like I've mentioned before, underwear and jeans cannot stop a fart mask. We'll see. Well, I got it. That's pretty funny. Wow. Show the pictures. Again, this is a thing where there are no pictures of the Battle of Hastings. Does anybody think for a second that wasn't real? There were no pictures of dead bodies. I've mentioned this before. I have family who was a first responder in San Bernardino who was there the day it happened, who treated patients who had blood on his hands. It was not a false flag. It was not they were not crisis actors. You could tell me that the mayor who would have been behind that can leave office and move into the neighborhood on the other side of me here in Mesa, Arizona, knowing that was all fake, and they let him live to tell about it? It's a certain thing that happens in organized crime. Good example of this is when Frank Colombo was hit in the early 70s. They hit the shooter also. The guys who are typically in on the hit are killed. So here you've got a global conspiracy in San Bernardino to confiscate the guns and bring about the New World Order, to bring about martial law. And the mayor is a part of it. But he's out of office now and just walking around like Yeesh. I don't buy it. So there are plenty of damn lies. And this idea that the flu, that COVID is no different genetically, biologically, that COVID's no different biologically than the regular flu, as a lie. That it's going to just magically go away in all April, not true. So let's say we had one case at the time. Now we're looking at over 2 million. There's 22,000 more reported cases than yesterday. 114,000 deaths. And people are saying it's so. That's why I mentioned that there's a whole spectrum of conspiracy theories, or let's just say theories, so people won't get torqued and triggered from that. Some think it's completely 100% fabricated, 100% fake. Others think it's real, but it was engineered by China. China, right? It's China. It's all planned. Others think that it's not even biological. They think it's literally just poisoning from the 5G waves, even though there are cases where there is no 5G. I don't know how that happens. Doesn't matter what the science is about about the frequency level. The cases are being overreported. That might be. Do you really think that the 114,000? What do you think the real number is? 1,000? We're talking still where you have overstressed hospitals. You have shortages. So are all these people that are sick? Is that all fake? So anyway, the whole thing had it started out regarding the lies, Donald Trump, the impeached president lying. And it's very clear the man does lie. He cheated on all three of his wives. Isn't that being dishonest? To forsake all others? He never meant that. It doesn't matter what he does in his personal life. No, it just matters what he does in his job. He's a liar. All politicians lie. 5G is a distraction. The fact is there are people that believe it's actually true regardless of the evidence. That's the problem, is people aren't going by the evidence. Maybe it was engineered, as the UN states on its website, to speed up progress in 2020 to bring in the agenda by 2030. Maybe it was aliens. Maybe it really is the reptilians. The queen, the reptilians. Yeah, I just, so. And then he lied, saying on March 6th, anybody that wants a test can get a test. Not true. We still haven't, in the United States, tested even this, the per capita as much as South Korea did. And South Korea, because of all that they did, it's got it under control. And so does New Zealand. New Zealand isn't getting any more reported cases. This guy said if anybody wants, and it's a beautiful test. Who the hell talks like that? I mean, seriously, it's a perfect call. The guy speaks in superlatives, but it's to own the libs. It's to own the libs, right? So he lied that anybody who wanted a test can get a test. Again, it's a fire hose of lies, which is far beyond any politician I've ever seen. So move on. Again, if you want to join the show, we have pictures and videos of many, many hospitals, to include Central Park Hospital. Did they dismantle a hospital and floated away the ship on Hudson? I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to mean. I don't even. I can't even make sense of what that is. So I don't get it. You know, I don't get it. But it's so positive news. Yeah, it's bad. You know, there's good and bad. There's a whole yin and yang thing. The protest, which were not just the result of George Floyd being having a knee on his neck for over 8 minutes. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And the protests are accomplishing some good things. However, the aftermath and the number of people who are going to get COVID and are going to die from that is going to be horrific. I know it's all fake. So it's all fake. Nothing's real. Well, what is being reported, which is actually I thought was pretty damn good, is well, you would think in 2020 this wouldn't be necessary, but New York City has actually and other police departments have actually banned, and I think there's actually been statutes or regulations passed banning chokeholds. I didn't think you needed to do that. I thought it was probably already something that was not permitted, but there we are. And some have actually passed regulations and ordinance statutes that cops have to intervene and they have to stop an abuse of power. So what happened, I think it was in Buffalo, a black cop, a woman, tried to stop a white cop from abusing his power, reported it, did all the things you're supposed to do, and got fired. Well, now, because of the protests, they're going to revisit that case. We'll see what happens. So there are some good things. And the defunding of the police doesn't mean no police. It means they're going to divert money to other ways to help the community. And Camden, New Jersey is one that's been going around because they did exactly the same thing that Minneapolis is looking to do. Oh, they want to defund the police. No cops. Gee. Read. So let's see. I think we've got Jay back that wants to join the show. Hopefully everything goes well. I haven't had a tech issue in a while, but hey, that's what comes from not doing as many shows. Let's see what we got here. Do we have Jay back?
Hey,
that worked. How's it going?
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Bad about yourself.
All right, you're going to tell me it's all
Mark,
a hoax.
Why are you so obsessed with this stupid president? I mean, what difference does it make? Why can't you just ignore the son of a bitch like any anarchist would do?
Well, I don't
understand why you feel it's so important to point out that lying politicians lie. What's the point? You think you're going to change anybody's mind?
Well, I thought I made it. I guess I didn't make it clear why I was addressing this at the beginning, because it's maybe more of a personal thing where it's bewildering to me that anybody who would listen to my show, I mean, anybody who would have listened to more than one of these shows would want to unsub because I pointed out a politician lied. Why is it's just I can't wrap my mind around it.
With it,
I'm not obsessed with it.
Well, holy shit! If you listen to the last several shows some of the shows where you go on as wild rants about the indicted president. I mean, people could call you the accused you a legal lawyer. What if they prefaced your name or your statement or addressing you at any time with, well, the accused unlawful lawyer, Mark Stevens? I mean, what the hell?
Well, I'm not obsessed, and I've hardly spoken and mentioned him in the last number.
Sounds like you're obsessed because you go on these rants about your voice gets high pitched and you start. Oh man, it's. I don't see any advantage to doing what you're doing. You're just driving people away. We didn't call into this show. We don't. I personally don't listen to this show to hear rants about how bad Trump is and how he lies all the time. I call in here to get your take on legal matters. Things that are you no longer able to do that?
Well, I can't. There was a thing I had it. Well, actually, it was on the computer. I discussed what they would allow me to do without escalating things against me. And I'm not going to talk about what the escalations are, but those who I have mentioned it to, it's ugly. And I'm glad it's been thrown out. But if somebody wants to refer to me as the formally charged with UPL, Mark Stevens, I don't give a damn. I've been called a hell of a lot worse over the years. I was called the domestic terrorist, for heaven's sake. So saying that I'm the formally charged UPL guy, I don't care. And I don't think I'm obsessed with the guy. I'm not. I explain why I mentioned.
So what would happen if everybody in the whole world referred to you as the UPL every time they mentioned your name?
Well,
you think that would add to your credibility?
Well, with some, if that many people,
it would the person that was referring to you as such would have their credibility elevated.
Well, it's kind of a situation that's never going to happen.
I just feel like you're obsessed. You spend most of this show telling us how bad Trump is. Well,
wow.
What would have happened if Hillary gotten in? We'd probably be in a war with Russia right now.
Oh, come on. The guy's been in bed with Russia since the late 90s. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But I'll respond to all this.
At least we're not shooting the sons of bitches.
Well, let me respond to all this there, tough guy. All right. So I'm not obsessed. I have spoken about it because there were reasons to discuss what he about, but it's not an obsession. It's not any more an obsession than when I would talk about Obama with the drone strikes. Okay, so that just there are certain times we're talking, and things that come up in news, and we talk about that. I am not obsessed. If someone thinks I'm obsessed and doesn't want to watch listen to the show anymore, well, all right. Well, I'm okay with that. I've been doing this for all these years, and I hardly get more than 50 people watching a show. I don't care about the size of the show anymore. I don't care. It's not really. The other thing is, I can't take calls any further and helping people directly with court cases. So if that's the reason why people were tuning into the show, okay. I have been spending a lot more time talking about ethics, and I have spoken about legal principles in a general sense, not any particular or contemporary case that I'm helping somebody with. But if somebody thinks I'm obsessed, okay, there are people that think that 5G is causing this, and there's no evidence to support that. There are people who are unsubbing from this because I don't like Trump. There are people unsubbing because I don't believe that it's all fake. There are people that are unsubbing because I don't believe that 5G is causing it. There are people that unsub because I'm not anti-vaccination. Okay. I don't know, every time I do a show, there's a certain portion of people, and historically, that have pissed and whined and bitched and complained. Why don't you do it? I'm not going to do the show just to try to please the 15 people that are pissing and whining and bitching and complaining about certain parts of the show. I don't know what to say to anybody. You know, if the only thing I can say is, if you don't like the show, just don't listen or watch. I am going to talk about subjects that are important to me. If it's not important to you, turn it off. I don't see how, this whole thing I am so tired of hearing that all I do is yell and scream into the microphone. That's not all I do. I don't yell and scream into the microphone. And if you want to characterize that as a rant, because it really pisses me off that somebody had a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and killed him, or that Breonna Taylor, who was asleep in her bed, was the victim of a no-knock raid on the wrong house for somebody who was already in custody.
Well, now that might be interesting if you talked about abuses of law enforcement, but to concentrate so almost exclusively on the indicted President Trump, I mean,
I don't focus a whole show exclusively on him.
The guy didn't die of asphyxiation. He died of a heart attack. He had so much fentanyl and crap in his body that probably walking up a set of stairs would have killed him. That's according to the coroner's report. He died of a freaking heart attack, not of asphyxiation.
You tell me he would have died anyway. But for the officer's actions. Let's answer that question here. But for the officer's actions of putting their damn knee on his neck for 8.5 minutes, you tell me he was going to die at that point anyway, or would have died a few days later?
Probably.
How the hell could
the guy
you
was a criminal, Mark. He had gone into a lady's house and pointed a gun at her belly while him and his buddies ransacked her house looking for dope and money. This guy was a criminal, and they're turning him into a saint.
No, they are not turning him. No. What they're doing is protesting the lack of accountability when police kill somebody. That's what they are protesting. They are not making the man a saint. They're not making him a hero. He is somebody who was like I said, it's a straw that broke the camel's back. Just like I have focused on police brutality almost on almost every single show. I talk about this. I talked about redlining last week. How many watching the show actually knew what the term was and what it meant prior to the show last Saturday? I would be shocked if more than 5 people who listen to, and this is not a slam against anybody watching, but most people watching the show listening probably had no idea what redlining was, never heard of that. You're talking about a long pattern of abuse that cops in particular are able to kill people. Whether they would have died tomorrow doesn't matter. They killed them today. To turn around and say, and Kennedy was shot in the head. Well, he had so many medical problems. I mean, my gosh, he would have been dead in a few weeks anyway. Well, Bobby Kennedy, he got shot in the back of the head, but knowing the guy probably had syphilis or something, he was going to be dead in a few years anyway. And when you live such a radically, abusive lifestyle, I mean, come on, J-Back, you're going to tell me that it's okay for the cops to put
Bobby Kennedy wasn't a criminal with a record.
It doesn't matter.
This guy had been interacting with the police for a long time.
Dude, I got to tell you.
He had a history.
Doesn't matter. At the time, he was not being violent, and there was no justification to put the knee on his neck. There was no moral, legal, or any kind of justification whatsoever. They flat out murdered that guy. They killed him. So I mentioned last week, the police chief, are you going to defend a police chief that was killed in the riots and say, well, he was a police chief. I'm certain that there was a history of abuse in his. We don't blame the victim that way. At least I don't.
I thought redlining had to do with the banks and their willingness to loan money to people within that redlined district.
That's what redlining is.
So why do you think that was the case? Why do you think there was a red line?
The red line grew out of the damn
You
Jim
think he was?
Crows, the Jim Crow laws. It was obviously to make it more difficult for black communities to prosper.
No, I disagree. I think redlining is because the people that live within that district are historically very poor at maintaining their payments or whatever. It was a losing proposition.
No, they've
to
been
loan
able to
money
show for
people
all these
inside those
years.
red lines.
They've been able to show for all these years in the studies that even black people who were moderately successful and had the same economic status as white people were denied. And this is something that they tried to fix in 68, and up until they were still having problems with this up until just a few years ago, and they're probably still having problems with this. This is not just a matter of, oh well, they're just poor, they can't afford it. No, this is deliberately targeting minority communities. But my point was that I have spoken predominantly. I have spoken out quite a bit about police brutality and the lack of accountability, how nothing is. I even spoke about Amber Geiger again, that even when they convict these cops, the judge gave her a hug. What the hell does that say to the community when a cop who went to the wrong house and killed the guy who was, and then again they tried to, well, the guy, he was no saint. I mean, he had pot. I mean, it's a constant theme that the cops not only get away with it, but they have to then denigrate and try to make the victim out to be that they deserved it. Well, he had a history. So then it's okay. And so morals and ethics don't count to somebody with a history. Now, if he was caught in the act, then using whatever force was necessary to stop the act is morally justified. Not here. There is no moral or ethical or even legal justification for the killing of George Floyd, regardless of what he did 5, 6, or 7 years ago. It does, or even 6 months ago. It's what's happening right now that's important. And I can't believe that you would go and try to justify and support what the cop did on the grounds that you're saying. Okay.
Oh, I'm not justifying the cops. It was wrong. He didn't probably deserve to die for what he did, passing a fake $20 bill. That's crazy. But the interactions that he'd had previously with the cops probably tended to make them a little less concerned for his welfare, you might say. You should follow Ernie's thoughts on the matter. Just start ignoring the sons of bitches instead of worrying about trying to bring to light all the nastiness that they do, because politics is nasty. I mean, politics is war by other means, war is politics by other means. I just don't see how you expect to grow an audience when you're so, I don't know, rabid, I guess I would say, about the current political situation. It just blows me away. Anyways,
what gives you the impression? Wait. What in the hell gives you? Oh my gosh, what are you basing this claim on, that I'm trying to grow the audience? What are you basing that on?
Oh, well, I thought everybody that had a YouTube thing would like to get their message out to more people.
I've given up on that a long time ago. This channel is never going to grow unless somebody else. This is the thing. And I'm a big boy, and I can accept this. This channel will never get more than an average of 1,000 views, regardless of the number of subs that I have. Now, somebody's really pushing and wants me to do some other shows. Other people have taken my material, and they have gotten hundreds of thousands of views on the video. It resulted in no traffic to my website, no additional traffic to the YouTube channel, zero. I used to do the live broadcasts, and I used to have my camera, my other camera, Remember, I used to always do this during the show? That's because I had to reset the recording on my good camera because you can only record 4 gigs at a time. So I only got 12 minutes. So I was always doing that. I would then take that, I would sync up the audio because I have the good audio, and I would sync that up to the good video, and I would put all sorts of graphics in detailing what I was talking about. So if I mentioned a court case, bam, that was my graphic. Okay. If I talked about the impeached president, bam, there was the graphic. I put a lot of time into that. Do you know why I stopped doing that over a year ago?
Because nobody was watching them?
Nobody was watching them. So I could do a live stream like now, and in a week, I get 700-800 views. Okay. What I would do before is I would pull the live stream down a day or so later after I spent hours putting and doing the editing. And I would reload it, and I get like 200 views in a week. So I said, I'm not getting any more views. How do I justify spending 5 or 6 hours a week or more? Because there's 2 shows. How do I justify all that? I couldn't justify the time. So I gave up a long time ago thinking that the show is ever going. I got, like, thanks to Brian, I appreciate it. I got like 5,000 or 6,000 more subs in the past year. Did you see the view change? Did you see the view count change at all?
Well, I didn't, but
no, 0. So now you got some of the people who think, well, Mark, it's just your message, and they're trying to manipulate. No, they're not. I know what the unique hits are to my website. I can go on the back end and I can say, I know I get almost no traffic whatsoever. It's almost 0. Okay. That's the way it is.
Well, see, yeah, I understand. The thing is that I think the audience that would be interested in your message is also not so rapidly anti-Trump.
I disagree. I don't think there's interest.
When you had a whole buttload of viewers at one time after Brian made a link to your thing or mentioned you or something, you had, 100 or so, or it was quite a few views on that one show.
No.
And then you went off on your Trump thing and alienated most of the people that had tuned in, thinking they might be something they were interested in. But when you come off with this anti-Trump stuff that spends so much time, dissing the president, I mean, it just doesn't seem like a productive way to get your message out, because the message that you're getting out is Trump's an indicted president, and I hate the son of a bitch, and here's all the bad stuff he did.
Well, you're talking about a small part of the show.
No, anyway.
No, it's just the numbers don't. I don't like criticizing you, Mark, but gosh, why are you getting so? Are you so seemingly obsessed with the guy? I'm not. It just doesn't add up for me. I'm not. And the numbers from Brian, there's no consensus on that, but I'm really not. I live most of my life now completely oblivious to politics. I have no interest. I'm not working with anyone directly in court anymore. I've been out of business that way, since February. So I'm not. But the numbers don't lie. The numbers, it's not a matter of all these people from Brian flooded in. They didn't. There was like 75 people. I don't think that's a flood. Okay, especially when it's 5,000 more subs. So having 50 more people viewing when it's 5,000 more subs, no. And I think it's because, flat out, Brian's audience is not interested in what I have to offer. Whether I'm talking about Trump, or other politicians, whether I'm talking to, and I'm a big boy, I understand. I could start another channel right now on a completely different subject, which I'm going to do. And I'm sure within 6 months, I will have a lot more views per video, because it'll be on something people are interested in. At least people are not interested in hearing it from me. And that is what I accept. I get it. That's why other people can use my material and they get hundreds of thousands of views. I'm a big boy. People don't want to watch and listen to me. I get it. That's why I'm moving on. That's why I'm in a completely different business right now. I don't care. I'll do the shows.
What you doing?
Well, I'm not going to discuss. I'm not going to discuss that on the air. If that's something someone's interested in, I'll discuss it with a very limited number of people. But I've been working on starting another business for the better part of a year because the writing was on the wall. Nothing I was going to do was going to increase the number of views on this channel. It wasn't going to come from me. And I'm old enough now and mature enough, and I can accept 90. Most people are not interested in what I have to say. But they're not. I'm not going to sit here and get on the show. I'm not going to talk about lizard people. I'm not going to be screaming until I'm blue in the face about the globalists. I'm not going to be screaming about the frogs being turned gay. That's what people want. People want intrigue. They want these stupid conspiracy theories. All this, oh, well, it's this and that, and it's the globalists, and it's Agenda 21, and it's the lizard people, and they're trying to put all these things in Bill Gates, and they want to bring about a new world order, and his whole thing is to chip people. I'm not going to talk about stupid stuff like that. I'm going to talk about things I'm interested in. And if it gets to a point where I'm only getting 4 or 5 people watch, I'll just stop the show. I wanted to help people. I'm not able to do it in that fashion anymore. And I'm certainly not going to jeopardize, even if I'm not looking at my own safety, without getting into any details. You are one of those people, J-Back, that would be hurt if they were to recharge and escalate this against me. You would be involved with that. And I have to do what I have to do to protect people like yourself from being exposed. So I hope.
Well, I don't think you did it. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't do anything illegal or unethical when you were dealing with me.
It does. Okay. Try to everybody put 2 and 2 together here. I've worked with a lot of people over the years. If they were to escalate this matter against me, they would know all your information.
Okay.
Everything you've ever given to me, they will get.
Yeah. I never gave you anything illegal.
It's not a matter of being illegal. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about all your private papers and everything, things that you gave to me to keep private. And there are some, so that's not something that I take lightly. And it's not as if I can just start deleting everything, because then I could be charged with something for doing that. So it's a very precarious situation. I'm trying, and so part of my decision, well, look, it was an easy decision because I was already out of business. But I didn't want it to escalate to where they would start confiscating my computers.
Yeah, well, like I said, anything you did with me was up and above the board. Nothing was illegal. There was nothing that, and most of the stuff was filed in the public anyways. It was in court, right?
Well, there are communications and stuff like that. There are things that people don't want. And they should stay private, because you don't have to be doing anything wrong to enjoy a right to privacy. So
it's true.
So it's and it's really unfortunate the show took this kind of turn. I didn't necessarily plan. I obviously didn't plan to get into a lot of those issues, but we are seeing
distracted.
It's like there are certain people that I absolutely abhor. I can't stand them. I think they're dishonest, but they're very, very wealthy. And they have a platform and they say whatever they need to do to get a click. I don't give a damn. I don't care. I'm not going to say something just to get views. I'm not going to say something just to get clicks. That's not me. And so I don't go to their channels. I don't talk. I don't even mention the name on the show. I don't care. So it's not something I discuss. But if there's something that I find is important and I think there's a purpose for it, I'll discuss it. Is it going to land with everybody? Of course not. But the people who do a show to try to make everybody happy are typically, now they got the views, they got the money. I've got neither because I don't cater to anybody. And I'm at a point where
you're not monetized, you know. So
well, I'm not monetized, and even if I had, I wouldn't have made any money.
Advantage of the monetization, I guess.
How do you monetize? Who's going to monetize a channel that gets 100, averages 800 views a video? I mean, come on. I'd make what, $3 a month?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's why people, people trying to claim that YouTube is manipulating things. No, they're not manipulating anything. No one watches the show. Very few people watch your show. This had a very transitory audience. I came to grips with that a long time ago. People just wanted one thing, and once they got out of court, they never listened again. Okay. I was helping people, but I can't help people anymore. Even without the attack from the bar.
Mark, I sure appreciate what you do. Aside from the rants against the indicted president, or impeached president. So,
well, all right, there was a moratorium on that.
Well,
for a while.
I'll let you go in case you got somebody else wanting to get in. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the call.
Thanks again, Mark.
All right.
Talk to you later.
All right. It's not our finest hour here on the No State Project. It's very limited in what I can talk about, but I also look at, the legal issues, and I could sit here and talk about what legal issues, what aspect of court. I mean, I'm asking honestly here, what legal issues as far as due process and defending in court, what new ground does anyone think that I could possibly cover here? I have talked about every single aspect that I know of. There's no new ground for me to cover. So I talk about things that are current, things that are going on, and my anarchist, what my view is on that. Because the point was to get to a voluntary society, not just talk about court endlessly. So I listened to some counsel from somebody and they don't even listen to the show anymore. They can't take all the ranting. But it was that I had to repeat things so that people understood. Well, I'm not going to do that anymore. And so it's a matter of when it comes time to do the show, what are we going to talk about? I've already talked about the rules of evidence until I am blue in the face. I have talked about that constantly. So there's tons and tons of material for that. I just don't want to keep covering the same ground over and over and over and over again, even if it means a few more people are going to watch the show. You're going to have to make do with all the articles I've written and then the videos that I've already done so far. If there is something, all right. I guess I'll end the show there. I don't think I had anything else. People want something to believe relative to their emotionally driven biases, and they want what they believe to come from a higher power, also known as commercial media. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not running away. There's nothing else to say. If somebody wants to post a comment in there or you want to call the show, you can still call the show. The caller line is still up at 717-275-8941. 717-275-8941, and the passcode is 1233428. So we'll see. You can join me there. So I'm just triggered. All right, whatever. All right. Well, if no one's gonna, all right, we'll just call it quits there. And if you guys want to help with if there is a particular part, all right, Stahl, if you want to call on, get me on Skype. Just call directly on Skype. I've got it muted up, so if you do call, I'll bring you up. I will I'll drop off the call line. Like a damn therapy session. Oh, I thought I had taken care of that. We got Stahl.
Hello, Mark. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Really? This is the first time you've ever called?
This is...
And we lost him. Hello?
It's me. Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't get any of that.
Oh, my... coming...
Nah, you're breaking up pretty bad.
Oh.
Hey, guys,
Turn off.
This isn't my issue.
Okay. Ivory.
Yeah. You're just not coming through. Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna. I heard you say better, but we'll see. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just not working. Why don't you call back? We'll dump the call, and then you can call back. Try again. You know, and that's the nature of a show. There's always going to be people that complain, and I don't want to hear that. I talked about something that I was passionate about, and something that I thought was a very positive thing, and something about, and people complained. I talked about jazz, my love for jazz and improvisation, and people hate on you for that. So, what do you do? All right, let's see. We'll try this again. Is that better?
I don't know. You tell me. Is this better?
Well, yeah, you're not breaking up. I was just surprised that you had not called into the show before.
No, I've been a listener since don't quote me on it, 2011.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so let me quickly tell you. 2011, the whole tinfoil stuff happening and all kinds of shit happening. And I forgot to pay for something called a license. No big deal, right? It's only $75. Whoopee ding dong. I forgot. My apologies. Some schmuck in a blue uniform with a gun decides that he's going to really punish me. Anyways, long story short, I went through the whole sovereign bullshit, Rain Man, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's probably 100 to 200 people I've listened to. And I figured out one day, I listened to 3 videos, very, very old ones from you. I don't know if you remember brown or pink or purple background.
I had a red background for a while, and then someone, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was just you in a background. You were talking about jurisdiction. I had zero clue what the hell that was. Zero. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, that's interesting. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, great. Okay, yeah, due process, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. And forgot about you for a year or two. And then, I don't know what happened. Maybe I stopped drinking the water. Maybe I didn't do a lot of Wi-Fi and cell phones. And all of a sudden, this stuff kept coming up. And I started looking at you. And I had a light bulb moment. I'm like, oh, my God, this is Occam's razor. This is Marx Stevens Occam's razor. It's so simple. Why am I and 90% of the population so, excuse my language, stupid? Why don't we get this? Okay? So people call in your show because they get attacked by bureaucrats. Like Juan Galtz and lawyers and a whole bunch of bureaucrats. And they don't know what to do. They try all kinds of shit. They go into some weird tangents of all caps name, and it's all admiralty, military, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sestaku trust, blah, blah, blah. Oh. And yet, you've got the answer. And I seriously don't understand how you only have 50 people out of the 7 billion on this earth going, hey, bingo. So simple. Oh my God, he got it. He is the 2020 Lysander Spooner, okay?
Wow.
And I'm not trying to kiss your ass. I'm just telling to the audience that if you're not paying attention, your head is up your ass. All right. That being said, I just wanted to tell you, man, don't stop. Okay, maybe you're a little bit ranting about Trump and the COVID Kool-Aid and all that shit. But remember, that is a distraction to stop looking at whose hands are in your and my pocket. If we all stopped right now, today, sent a letter with an FU to the city, county, state, federal, I don't care who they are, IRS, CRA, and said, I don't owe you shit. And if you don't have evidence of I owe you shit, because I don't, piss off. And you know what? Those criminals wouldn't be working. Those criminals couldn't hire the criminals called Blue with the guns to go and attack the little guys who are standing up, just like you. So I appreciate you standing up, taking the shit from everywhere, including the people that follow you. And I'm not saying they follow you, but they comprehend your stuff. Okay, I hate that word because of that one Galt loser. Well, you got a cult following, man. No,
Yeah.
dude. Right?
I have a cult following, please.
I know, right? It's like, oh my God. I know. It triggers me. I'm just like, you're done. You're done. I've had enough of this retard, just like Juan Galt and everyone else like him. It's like, dude, you're either a good human being or you're a criminal working for the people called government, which is just you in a building, and you're stealing from everyone else. All right. I'm done my rant.
I can't for the life of me understand, just like I don't get why people even, who listen to the show, follow the show, would have any liking at all for someone like, the impeached president. I don't get how you would engage this guy and why anybody would, especially after I already did. And you know what he's like. You know what his position is. He's not going to change. It's just wasted time. Why in the world would you guys have let him into a Discord room is beyond me.
I want him gone, but everyone else says, well, he helps us, like be challenged. He helps us to be able to discuss this stuff. And I can see part of that because 80% of the people are just like him. So that is the only part I understand. Like, okay, all right, he's challenging. That's great. He's another liar, and that's spelled Liewer, a lawyer. They're all a bunch of liars. Every one of them. They don't have a real job. They don't help anybody. They take money from you and me and say, don't worry, I'll take care of you. My buddy, the judge. Oh, wait a minute. How much you got in the bank account? Oh, what? No. Hey, listen, I can't help you right now. I'll tell you what, when you got your visa all cleared up, come and see me. Right?
Yeah, I will throw in for those who feel that they need to have opposing counsel or someone to spar with, so and that he helps that way. Wouldn't it be? Let me. But wouldn't it be better to like what I've done, what I've suggested, and 2 other people have done? Why don't you just actually make a phone call or go to a city council meeting and confront them directly instead of constantly going over the same ground with the same guy that you're never going to. To me, at least, I've spoken. This is one of the frustrations of the show. People, do the show and people help it. But why doesn't anybody, not a single person I have ever worked, no one that I have worked with, that I have suggested, if you want to help in court and speak for yourself, confront a city council. Not a single person did that. Not one. And at least in my experience, that is going to be far more effective than getting into a pissing contest with some lawyer on Discord.
Okay. Well, it's real simple because the majority of us, including me, going to the con sellers council, they're just selling a con. Going there and trying to discuss this, which I want your video. I love that one. But they're like, hey, listen, buddy, thanks for coming. Hell no, we're not going to answer you. Are you kidding me? People are going to figure it out. Hell no.
Come
Get him out of here.
on.
Security, get him out.
No, I had Colby Granville. I've got it on video. Colby Granville saying we have jurisdiction because we said so. I mean, come on, they answer.
There you go.
I have the Supreme Court.
Capiche? Hey, we have jurisdiction. Capiche, Mark?
But
listen, don't make us hurt you or your friends or J-Back. Don't push us, okay?
I confronted a sitting Supreme Court Chief Justice. He's saying the laws apply because they put other people in prison. I mean, come on, I can do it. There was my life wasn't threatened. All Scott Bales did was laugh and walk away from me with that. You know, he would not. Did. Yeah.
But wait, hey, where is he right now? We don't know. Hey,
he's off the bench.
Yeah, way to go. Hey, Mr. Scott, what? You told him that? Are you stupid? People are going to figure it out.
They don't care.
Okay, you're done. You're done. You know, that's what they're going to do to him. And he's going, oh, my God, and I lost my pension?
Oh, he's sitting pretty with his pension, man. Nothing happened. Oh, guys, I've already taken myself. I've already disconnected the call line. So Stahl's is going to be the last call for today because I'm running really late.
Yeah, I'm just the only one to trigger you, right?
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you can handle. One more.
Everyone just thinks I'm triggered. Okay,
listen,
whatever.
Mark,
I'm
hey, we're all triggered. That's cool. That's great. We're all triggered because we're under this pressure. And it all boils down to I've read both your books. Oh my God. And I lent the first book out. I don't know who I lent it to. Never got it back. I'm pissed. I want my Adventures in Legoland. I want it back because like everyone talks about, the truth. Listen, everybody has a truth. But there's only one truth. And as Mark would say, it's men and women forcing me and you to pay them. It's so Occam's razor. I don't understand why people are so dumb that it's like
I don't think it's that.
Oh, no. What about the roads, Mark? Hey, Mark, what about the medical system? COVID, Oh, don't trigger me on that.
I don't necessarily. I'm not gonna say it's really. It's that they don't get it. They don't want to. It is. It's like I am. I think someone who's been on the show many times, and I've known him since Adventures in Legoland. I don't think that they can. I don't think they want anything to do with me anymore because, I've always said from day one, it's not the service; it's the manner in which it's provided. And this is now triggering because they think that when in Minneapolis they're talking about defunding the police, that there's going to be no police, that the service is completely gone, that I should be packing my bags and moving there. And I'm thinking that's the same stupid claim that we've heard for years as anarchists, that if we don't like it here, why don't we just move to Somalia? And
right. And talking about defunding the cops, all they're going to do is change the bosses, and they're going to hire the same cops with a new uniform. It might be blue, it might be brown shirts, it might be black shirts. Oh, wait a minute, that's what they're wearing now. Or blue shirts. It doesn't matter. It's just another distraction. And just before we end this, look at the riots. These people are retarded. Let's look at it. Cop allegedly, and I only saw videos of knee on the neck, and then some sheriffs in brown shirts taken to an ambulance. So we're all putting facts in that there are no facts yet, and it's like, okay, cop kills some guy, which they do it all the time. Nobody freaks out. They only freak out because it's a new agenda. It's right. Agree with me or disagree. It's a new agenda. It's like a new fear, a new thing. COVID's over. It's okay. We got the COVID under control. Unless you piss us off, we'll have a stage number 2 or 3. Just like Windows 2 and 3. Okay.
There's so many things you're saying there that are wrong. I can't even write them all down.
Oh my God, help me out. What's wrong? Which part? Let's do it. Come on.
People die.
Don't tell me you got no time. Don't tell me you got no time. You got lots of time. I got lots of time. We all got time. Let's go.
Cops kill people all the time and people don't freak out. Are you kidding me? The whole Black Lives Movement started how many years ago?
I know, but there is no all lives matter movement. And instead of saying, hey, these people should be fired, gone, jailed, etc., cops should be respectful, courteous, discussing things. And if there's bad criminals, then of course they're going to do bad things to them. I don't know, but it's like cops are not logical, ethical, or moral people that I've seen. Some are. Don't paint the whole picture, or whatever the expression is with the whole paintbrush. But majority of them are like dumbass security guards. I'm afraid if the cops are gone, we're going to have stupid security guards. Sir, you must wear a mask. Here's your gloves. No, sir. You can't go in the store without mask and gloves. Sir, I'm the authority here. It could be worse. I'm afraid it would be worse than just cops who have some training. Hey, don't taser them. Don't escalate it too much, because
that's what they're talking
about. Cameras right now.
Okay, but they're talking about accountability. They want the cops to be treated just like everybody else, so that they don't go home after they kill somebody. They're actually investigated. That
good,
the evidence
great,
is there,
but there aren't.
But that's what they want. They want. The demands are very clear. It's things that we've talked about. I've talked about. We want them to be accountable. We want ethics to apply to them just like they do to us. And
great,
that
but it's never going to happen, don't you? Are you delusional? It's never going to happen. They're just telling us to calm down. We'll take care of this. Go back to your little houses and COVID. Stay home. Social distance. Unsocial distance. Stay back. Everything's great. We will take care of it. We're going to unfund them. We'll hire new schmucks and everything. It's like the same shit. Over and over. Nothing's going to change. You know that. Come on.
Well, things did change in Camden, and so they are trying. We're making baby steps now. It could be. Look, there are already laws about and so just because they pass another law saying that the chokehold is illegal, it was illegal under the regulations. It was against the regulations to choke Eric Garner. They did it anyway and got away with it. So that might still happen. But I see glimmers of hope when you have people like Larry Krasner, who was elected in Philly, and innocent people. So even from my standpoint as an anarchist, I have to applaud the fact that he was instrumental in getting 9 innocent people out of jail. That is we have to give him credit for that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I mean, seriously, what's that word? Qualified immunity. Oh yeah, that's the one.
They're trying to get rid of that. They're actually there's congressmen, and they're trying. But the fact that they are even entertaining stripping them of qualified immunity is a step in the right direction.
It's a carrot. It's just a carrot waving.
It might be.
They don't want to whip you with the stick. They're carrot waving, and you'll see the carrot will go away.
It might.
It's okay.
That's why it's important. I know. I'll hear for it. It's why it's important when you get someone like Larry Krasner, when you have someone like Ian Freeman running. For goodness sakes, vote for Ian Freeman if he runs. That's a step in the right direction. So I'm not
going to disagree with that. No, that's fine. But yeah, and I might agree with you. It starts with your commune. Community. Communist commune. Anyways,
not the same thing.
But it does start because your mayor or your landlord they're the ones who are controlling you. But wait a minute, didn't everyone follow the orders of stay home, social distance? It's okay, because you know what? There's people dying. There's like billions of people dying. But no, wait a minute. I'm sorry, we might have exaggerated that. They're just old people dying, of stuff. And we're going to call it COVID. Yeah. Yeah. Now stay home. Oh, and you do. and everyone did. So
No,
I see
everyone
it as
did
a whole
not.
bunch of peasants and slaves are still delusional, and nothing's going to change. It's going to continue 1984 to 2021.
They
Correct
did
me if
not
I'm
stay
wrong.
home. They did not stay home, and most people are not wearing masks. They did not do that. They opened too soon, and now we're getting a serious spike all over that they did.
BS. That is just stuff on television or internet. It's not. I don't know about you. Take your camera, go to the hospitals. People have gone to the hospitals. They're full of, I can't even say it. Your YouTube might be banned. SIHIT or whatever, BS. I spoke with a friend of mine. Let me give you an example. May I just continue?
It's got to be short because I'm really bleeding into my next.
But let me rant. No one else. Hey, you can't be the only one ranting on your own show, can you?
But you got a point there.
Okay, so my neighbor of my neighbor, I go down there and I spoke with him, and let's not get into details. And he says, yeah, well, I told my father who's like 80, I said, don't get an injection. Don't. Because you know what? Just don't. You're okay. You're fine. He's East Indian. Cool dude. That day, he couldn't go and take his dad. He had to go work. So his son took his dad to the doctor, got an injection of, flu shit, whatever. And the next day he got sick. And then a couple of days later or whatever it is, he didn't give me the exact details, the exact date or anything, dead, allegedly, of COVID. Wait a minute. He was fine before that. So I'm just saying, please look at the evidence. Your evidence you've looked at, I'm going to say you only looked at 30% of the evidence. You haven't looked at the 70%. I've looked at 100%. All I do my whole day, because I got shit to do, and I'm old fart, so I can do that. And I'm watching hundreds and hundreds of information, and I make my mind up by going, hey, these are the facts. And wait a minute, the CDC and all that stuff, it's just shit on television, shit on internet, computer, numbers and little red spots, and it looks like a computer simulation. And I look around, I go outside, I don't see anybody dropping on the ground. I go to the hospital, I don't see hundreds of people going in there. Oh my God, they're all dying. So I don't know. Someone told me COVID's not real. I'm going to ask them, please provide me the evidence that it is or isn't. That's all I'm asking.
They've mapped the genome on this thing already, and
who's they?
Scientists, virologists have done that. It's peer-reviewed stuff. You can go online. You can check it out.
There's other scientists who debate that and say, "I'm sorry, no, you're wrong." I don't know. There's always three sides to a story. Their other scientists, and then the truth. I don't know the truth. I'm questioning all this information, and I'm using my logic. I'm using information, and I'm actually going there to see what's going on, because they're telling me there's lines of people going into the hospital and dying. And
lines?
I don't see that.
I don't think it works that way. My wife works at a hospital. Okay,
I know. And I'm going to tell you, that's why your wife is wonderful, and you're biased with your wife, and she's a wonderful lady. So you're using that bias of being, she's a good human being, and you're using that good bias and saying, well, it's got to be true. That's
what is true is that the hospital is at 80+% capacity from COVID. And now what they're having to do is they're going to be another order where they're going to be delaying elective surgeries, only life-threatening stuff. So because it's very dangerous to have somebody go into surgery, especially when it's not a life-threatening thing like like a cabbage. But that's true. That's happening. So
may I see the video? Can she go in there, bring a video camera, and show the hundreds of 80%? It's 80% because no one else is allowed in there unless you're going, I'm not feeling good, I need to have a COVID tested, and you seem to be a positive, negative, positive, negative. Yeah, you got to come in here.
80+% capacity is not normal.
Because no one else is in there. Of course, no one else.
Because that's not true. Other people are there for life-threatening things.
May I see the video?
But it's elective. No, you don't get to go into a hospital and do that because
it's secret.
It's not.
Okay, I'm sorry,
All
Mark.
right, I gotta put you on. I gotta pause you a second. It's not that. It's called privacy. People have a right to privacy. And you don't get to just go and when people are sick to go take video of people, especially when their names are on the outside. Okay, so you'll have a last name.
Don't film the names. I don't
you
know.
Don't,
there are answers to this.
No,
You're just making excuses of why, just like a government agent, why you can't do this. You're not allowed. Why don't I take a whole suit on with a video and I'll blur out the names, I'll blur out the faces, I'll blur out anything that's relevant, and I want to see that 80%, the 80 people that are in the hospital dying from COVID. I just want to see it. I'm not asking for any privacy stuff. I'm not asking any secret stuff. I mean, why aren't they showing anything? They showed empty beds all the time.
Empty beds is one thing, especially when the hospital allows it and they're not getting patients in there. It's a privacy thing. I mean, if my wife wanted to go to jail and for HIPAA violations or lose her job, she could bring you the census sheets.
And that's why they got that HIPAA privacy. Hey, listen, it's not private. When I go to the hospital and I ask for my own records, all of a sudden it's very private. I'm like, those are my records, aren't they? Oh, I'm sorry, sir, it's very private.
Well,
so the privacy was made for you or anyone else to not get any information. That's why they made privacy laws. You know, these criminals called lawyers and legislatures and liars and all those people, they make this shit not for you, the average person, human being out there. They make it so you can't get this stuff. I ask, you know how long it took me to get my privacy information from the RCMP that most of the Americans don't know. Those are cops.
Yeah.
It took almost 2 years minus a month. And you know what I found out? I was called because at that time with the whole license thing, I'm now a sovereign citizen terrorist. And I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? You see what I mean? So you've got to look at, you're the one who made me see that these people are criminals.
Yeah,
these are the
true.
Legal criminal. There's legal criminals and there's illegal criminals. Those are legal criminals, and they will use the privacy thing from you investigating anything and providing the actual evidence and or facts and truth of what is really going on. So I'm just saying that. So please provide some evidence. Go yourself. Don't take your wife. Put a hidden camera on. I don't know. I have a video on there with a nurse. She secretly recorded stuff because she was going, hey, this is weird. What the hell's going on here? So again, people are saying, hey, this is wrong. Something's wrong. Dare I say Georgia Guidestones, but something's wrong. I know, conspiracy, tinfoil, whatever. But again,
show the evidence of that, though. Well, I do have to run.
Pension. I know you got to run. You see,
I'm going a half hour over.
Just like governments do. Oh, I got to run. I can't talk.
No,
I can't discuss this. So don't go run and not discuss this.
I can discuss it on the next show. I'm not running, but
fine.
I've gone. I can show you the facts. Why? I'm 23 minutes over my allotted time.
Allotted time? Who allows you?
This is me. It's just like when I say about a privacy issue.
Minutes?
It's a private, just like the hospital. It's not a government thing. It's a privacy. I don't want to invade someone's privacy. But we can discuss this on the next show. I'm not running from it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you, first time caller, and I probably won't call in because you know I'm abrasive. You know that. You can tell by now, and all your callers are going to go, oh my God, head plant or whatever, face palm.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't trigger you, okay?
I think you've been a nice contrast so people can see that I'm not just yelling and screaming.
I know, but it's just me now.
Yeah.
That's right. I know, but I'm not yelling and screaming. As my mother would say, that's my voice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I please ask you to look at the other evidence, and maybe, just maybe, you don't have enough evidence and you're biased one way or the other because you have a wonderful wife, and she's a loving lady, and you expect majority of the people to be just like her, but you could be wrong. There could be bad people out there. Don't you think?
Yeah, I know that it could all be wrong. I get it. I understand. I'm leaning towards that. It's real. It could be fake. It could be. I'm not foreclosing that. I don't think it is, though. It's like a lot of things. I don't have all the context. I don't have all the facts, but this particular view is more compelling. So,
well, yeah, that's what it looks like on the television screen. A whole bunch of red dots everywhere, and a whole bunch of people. Please, as a last note, I beg you to get a hold of Brian from High Impact Flicks. You guys have a one-to-one discussion on all of this, including the legal, your adventures in legal land, the COVID, everything. Please, because it would be good to have, like, I don't know, make it 3 hours, make it 5, whatever. The point is, there's no time limit because our lives depend on the future. Your kids and everybody else's kids. Hey, I'm old. I'm going to be gone in a couple of years. Who gives a rat's ass? And what's important is the people in the future. And are they going to be slaves or are they going to be more free? Because I thought we live in a society with logic, morals, ethics, values, principles, and all other stuff that I haven't thrown out yet. But anyways, I'm sorry. I heard you interrupt, but go ahead.
No,
yes.
I just laughed. We're supposed to, but things are not governed by ethics. That's perfectly clear. So,
absolutely. There are criminals in quote unquote authority, power, whatever. And the masses just go along to get along. And when I go to court, I turn around, I'm in a huge room, zero, nobody. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Just like poor Terry Hilliard. Sir, am I innocent to proven? I'm sorry, that's enough. Contempt of court. You're going to jail for 3 months. Say another word and I'll make it 6 years.
That was horrible.
Yeah. And that's the shit that you are exposing. And that's what this show's about. Who gives a rat about Trump, Hitler, Mao Zedong, Bam Bam, or Trudeau? None of us we know those are just a bunch of puppets, liars, and scumbags. We don't care about the COVID is another fear thing. Before that, it was just some other fear thing. Before it was constant. I fell for it. I did. It's just more distraction from the people with their hands in your and my pocket. That's as simple as it gets.
Could be true. I do have to go. I do appreciate it. But call next week. We could talk more.
Thank you for hearing my ranting. I appreciate that.
Thanks for being thanks for taking the focus away from me ranting.
Hey, dude, not being gay, love you, dude. Okay? Okay? Oh, geez, did I just say that on air?
That's fine. I appreciate it. Now I really ran over, but I do appreciate the calls today, and I have to address this. This is something. It's one of those things that just won't die. I don't know if it's put up sarcastically. It looks like it, but Freeman 9, COVID-19 equals certificate of vaccination identification AI. Actually, no. Wherever you happen to be on the spectrum of conspiracies for this, COVID is corona virus disease 2019, COVID-19. Occam's razor, right? The simplest explanation with the least amount of assumptions. COVID, coronavirus, disease, 2019. Oh, man. All right. Well, we still have. I'm glad there's still people watching after that. Not the finest hour. I'm probably not going to post this audio up on markstevens.net, but I will be live next Saturday at the same time, which is 1 Pacific Standard Time and 4 Eastern Standard, right here on my YouTube channel, No State Project. And so till then, salud.